the USO spot. And since the beginning of this week, we've done pretty well on this asset. As you will see, we've continue to buy this asset, and the structural details we have here is more or less supporting buying opportunities in this market, and especially the fundamental factors behind the scenes are also lending support to the ascent of the US oil prices. So for the sake of those who missed out on our earlier editions, let's quickly run through how the week started for us all so that we can all be on the same page. So at the beginning of the week, we were able to identify a range after noticing a bearish gap. And in fact, price was initially confined within the $73.35 level and the $72.80 area to emphasize the level of indecision that was going on in this market at that particular point in time. And with the situation, during our live session on Monday, we were around this area, and of course, we noticed this engulfing bullish candle that sprang out of the support line of that range to give us a signal that we are likely going bullish for this week. Now, with our buy stop order sitting above the $73.35 level, we capitalized on our first buy position for the week, as you will see right here. And remember that we had multiple entries projected, like the $73.80 level, the $74.50 area, and of course the $75 area, where we positioned ourselves above these levels to maximize the potential of this bullish move. And for those of us who capitalized on this opportunity, we were able to scoop in a total or a minimum of 200 pips from these multiple buy entries before the bearish momentum came in. And on Tuesday, we begin to notice the inability of buyers to break out of that zone around the key level at the 75 and of course the $75.40 area to incite the idea that we could be witnessing a bearish move, or let's say a temporary retracement as a result of profit-taking activities. And as a result of this observation, we projected a reversal setup in the form of a double top structure, where we had our neckline for this double top structure exactly around the $74.50 level. And I did emphasize here on Tuesday that this breakdown could be a retracement move, and as a result of that, I wouldn't be taking it. But if you are a counter trend trader, a scalper, or one who enjoys taking counter trend opportunities, it will be a beautiful opportunity at a breakdown retest of that structure. And in fact, we saw price move about 110 pips move before another wave of bullish momentum happened. And following the API data on Wednesday, was it on Tuesday? Yes, the API data on Tuesday, we saw the market go into a choppy situation. And then during our live session yesterday, and coupled with the factors we talked about yesterday, we positioned ourselves above the $74.50 area. And one of the factors we mentioned here yesterday were the fact that price was still sitting above our ascending trend line, and that if it goes ahead to break out of this descending trend line, we will be in to buy this asset. And of course, we saw what happened. Price continues to climb new highs. We added more position at the breakout of the levels we did projected here yesterday, had the $75 area, and of course the $75.40 level. Well, this one right here was projected this morning, but unfortunately we had this position triggered before this live session. So at this point in time, you should be having a minimum of 3 buy positions running in profit, where the first position currently is running with about 175 pips in profit, while the second one is running with about 125. That's a total of 300 pips, while the third one is running with about 80 pips. That's roughly about 450 to 500 pips thereabout, which is not bad to start the week at all. Remember, we scooped in about 200 pips at the beginning of the week, so we've done very well on this particular asset since this week has begun. And once again, congratulations and kudos to everyone who took advantage of this profitable journey. And for those of us who still have a buy position running at this point in time, well, it is high time we moved our stop losses to secure this current buy position. And if you would ask me, anywhere around the previous high here is most appropriate to move all stop losses to. And please remember that you do want to be given enough breathing space for price action to move around. So move your stop losses. Remember to give enough breathing space, and let's see how the market will play out for today. Now, with a well secured position at this juncture, what is going to be our next line of action as we look forward to the impactful features from the US economic calendar today? That is the initial jobless claims, the GDP data, amongst other impactful events. Are we going to continue seeing the buy pressure continue its ascent, or are there chances that profit taking activities could come in today? Well, before we go into the technical details and, of course, looking at things from an holistic perspective, let's run through what is really moving price actions behind the scenes. In fact, there's quite some interesting developments which I would love to share with you and also help you to have an insightful view of what is going on in the market so far. So price action reaching new technical highs could be attributed to this attributed to one. We have some various factors, of course. One we had yesterday, how the People's Bank of China considered a potential medium-term lending facility rate cut yesterday, which is bringing some momentum into this market. And of course, we also witnessed the decline in the US crude oil stockpiles. Now, the expected MLF rate cut, along with a reduction in the reserve requirement ratio by the People's Bank of China, is anticipated to inject additional liquidity and support economic growth, potentially stimulating consumption, including crude oil products in China. And of course, we know how China happens to be the world's largest oil importer. And if the economy is not doing well, you know that that will affect the demand for this commodity. And remember, since last week, I have been talking about the sluggish recovery in China's economy based on the data that has been churning out from that particular economic docket. And I think as a response to all of this, the Bank of China had made this recent development to pump in some liquidity into the market to make to serve as a cushion to the economy. And I think this has signaled a positive traction into the market, hereby boosting or giving a glimmer of hope for buyers that there will be increased demand for oil. And this has skyrocketed the price of oil at this point. Then the other factor that we also witnessed here yesterday was the weekly report from the Energy Information Administration, where it was revealed that there was a significant decline in crude oil stockpile for the previous week, standing at 9.23 million barrels for the previous week, which dropped off from 2.49 million from the upper one. Now, other factors like severe weather conditions such as storms and cold snap also disrupted crude oil production. Additionally, US oilfield technology Farm Baker said they will be reducing spending on drills and well completions in 2024, reflecting their cautious approach of shale producers in response to weak oil prices. So all of these factors for me, and coupled with the geopolitical tensions in the Middle East, is supporting the ascent to buy this asset. And for me, I think it makes quite a lot of sense that we continue to look out for buying opportunity unless the market structure states otherwise. Now, with all this information we have here, please note that you want to be moving your stop losses as market participants anticipate the GDP data today, which could bring in some level of volatility in this market. Now, with the information we've gathered behind the scenes, let's run through the daily time frame to have an holistic perspective into what is going on from a technical standpoint. Now, on the daily time frame, for those of you who have been with us since the beginning of, in fact, in the last 3 weeks, the structure has remained the same. And the first thing we observed after taking into consideration the nature of price action since the month of September of last year, it was quite clear that price action has been very bearish. In fact, after connecting the series of lower highs, we have this beautiful descending trend line to work with. Now, despite the strong bearish momentum in the last 4 to 5 months, something interesting happened at the beginning of the month of December, and that is the inability of sellers to break through that area around the $68 and $70 zone. And this continued into the early days of this year as we saw a higher low. Sellers were finding it difficult to break down this area, hereby supporting a potential reversal pattern. And with a closer look at the structure, we begin to notice how this whole situation is revolving into a reversal pattern in the form of a double bottom structure where we had our neckline situated alongside with the key level at the $75 area. Now, what makes this level more interesting is the fact that it also shares a beautiful confluence with that descending trend line. So what this simply means is that if price breaks out of the descending of the neckline, price will also have broken out of the descending trend line to emphasize the fact that the trend line may no longer have the capacity to continue to negate the bullish attempt, hereby making us feel comfortable buying this asset. Now, in the last couple of days right now, you will see price has already broken out of the the descending trend line and the neckline to give us some level of comfort to feel confident buying this particular asset. So as it is right now, and with the information we have gathered here on the daily time frame, let's scale down into the lower time frame to see what is really going on, how we intend to prepare ourselves for today's trading session. So as it is right now on the 4 hours time frame, and considering the fact that price has finally broken out of the neckline of that reversal pattern, I'm of the opinion, and based on the factors we talked about earlier, I'm of the opinion that we shall continue to buy this asset. Now, one thing that is clear on the 1 hour time frame is this beautifully aligned ascending trend line, which has been supporting the bullish momentum in the last 1 week, as you will see right here. Now you know how we use our ascending trend lines in this community. As long as price remains above the ascending trend line, we shall continue to look out for patterns and structures that supports the idea of buying this asset. Now, as it is right now, price action just broke out of the previous high, giving me another opportunity to capitalize on the uptrend move, as I had a buy stop order this morning above this area. And if you had actually taken advantage of that one, well done to you. That means that you really adopting the analytical approach in this community, and you understand what to look out for to jump into any positions. However, if you had missed out on this opportunity, it's okay. Let's see if the market will give us another chance to join this move. Now, from a technical standpoint, we do know that price action has the potential of coming back to retest a structure that it was broken out from to incite another wave of bullish momentum. So let's see if the market will come back to retest the structure, and if it does, the appearance of buy pressure and the inability of sellers to break through or continue to the downside will welcome more opportunities to buy. However, there is a caveat to this whole setup, which I would like you to also take into consideration while monitoring this price action. Now, one of them is this descendant trend line, which you will see we had some series of lower highs from Monday, Tuesday, and a little bit of Wednesday's trading session, giving us this beautiful descending trend line. And of course, if you are part of our live session yesterday, we did talk about the potential of breaking out of this trend line to make us feel comfortable in a buy position. Now, if selling pressure persists here and then drops maybe into this area, we have an ascending trend line that we can use to join an uptrend move here. Or if price breaks down the ascending trend line, we have a bust stop at this descending trend line where we could witness a potential retest of that structure. And of course, we know from a technical standpoint that when price breaks out of a trend line like this, there is a possibility of price coming back to retest the structure in anticipation of another wave of bullish momentum. So in as much as if sellers come in at any point in time to take us out of our buy position, the whole market outlook is still looking very bullish. We have different factors supporting this. One, we have a neckline of a reversal pattern broken on the daily time frame. We have this ascending trend line in place, and we also have the descending trend line where price may come back to retest the structure in anticipation of another wave. So with all these parameters here, I still maintain a bullish bias on this particular asset. In fact, coupled with the development behind the scenes as well. Now we also have another level here, which is the highest point for this week. That is the $76.30 level. I encourage you to mark out these levels just in case price decides to continue its new high, continue its handsets, then we will be adding more positions at the breakout of the structure. Now, there are two ways to which we can capitalize on this opportunity. For those of us who have been profitable since the beginning of the week, we can place a buy stop order above that structure just to test what is there. And if it doesn't work out, we know that we are only risking some of the profit we had made so far this week. However, if you are joining us for the first time, I would encourage you to wait for a retest of structure before jumping into that position. So this is my simple view on the US All Spot for today. Very simple setup we have here. And as long as price remains above this ascending trend line, we shall feel comfortable in a buy positions. If you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to let me know in the comment section.